1950s get remembered as a spotless, picture-perfect decade. Milkshakes, sock hops, and everyone acting polite. But behind that wholesome image, the music world was in full rebellion. Teens chased records adults tried to hide. Church groups pushed stations to ban songs, and some tracks never reached the airwaves at all. Today, we're counting down the 10 songs that sent censors into panic mode. If you grew up in that era, which of these would have gotten you grounded the fastest? Comment below. 10. The House of the Rising Sun, Josh White, 1950.
They call the rising sun.
When Josh White recorded The House of the Rising Sun in 1950, the BBC banned it for sounding too bleak and too tied to gambling, drinking, and other immoral themes. But the real shift came in 1964, when the Animals released their electrified version. With raw vocals and a darker rock-driven sound, the once forbidden folk song suddenly exploded worldwide.
And foolish, oh Lord.
Hitting #1 in both the UK and the US stations that once rejected it now played it constantly, and teens embraced it as something bold and new. The Animals didn't tone anything down, they amplified the tragedy, letting the song's themes of addiction and regret sit front and center.
They call the rising sun.
Its success proved how quickly culture had changed. The moral panic of the 1950s collapsed, and a banned song became a defining anthem of the 1960s. 9. Wake Up Little Susie, the Everly Brothers, 1957.
Wake up, little Susie, wake up.
Wake Up Little Susie sounded harmless, just two teens who fell asleep at a boring movie. But in the 1950s, even the suggestion that they woke up together after midnight was enough to spark outrage. Parents claimed the song hinted at something improper, and church leaders argued it encouraged bad behavior, despite the lyrics making it clear nothing happened.
Ooh la la, wake up, little Susie, wake up, little Susie.
In Boston, a Catholic watchdog group pushed stations to ban it, and several programmers pulled it from rotation, worried it blurred the line between innocent pop and something too suggestive for young listeners. But the backlash completely backfired. The controversy sent the single straight to #1 on the Billboard charts, turning it into one of the Everly Brothers' biggest hits.
The movie wasn't so hot, it didn't have much.
What adults tried to hide, teens only wanted more, proving scandal can be the strongest promotion of all. 8. Great Balls of Fire, Jerry Lee Lewis, 1957.
Goodness and gracious, great balls of fire. I like that look upon I thought it was fun.
Great Balls of Fire became an instant classic. But in 1957, it dropped straight into the middle of America's growing culture war. The title alone made conservative listeners uneasy, loud, explosive, and clearly suggestive.
But your love drives a man insane. You broke my will, but what a thrill.
Paired with Jerry Lee Lewis's frantic piano and breathless vocals, the song felt far too intense for audiences used to calm, polished radio. Religious groups pushed back immediately. Some accused Lewis of mixing gospel energy with romantic heat, while others warned the song encouraged reckless teen behavior.
Oh, it feels good.
Several stations refused to play it, hoping a quiet ban would keep things under control. Instead, the pushback made the track even bigger. The single climbed the charts, became one of the decade's biggest hits, and cemented Lewis as one of rock's defining wildcards.
The world that you mine, I chew my nails and I twiddle my thumb.
Great Balls of Fire didn't just spark debate, it lit the fuse for a new era. But Lewis wasn't done worrying the adults, not even close. 7. Whole Lotta Shakin' Goin On, Jerry Lee Lewis, 1957.
There's been a whole lot of shaking going on around here all day, and
Another Jerry Lee Lewis hit pushed the controversy even further. When he performed a whole lot of shakin' going on live TV, it became clear rock and roll wasn't just music, it was physical energy. He kicked the piano stool, pounded the keys, and shouted lyrics that felt like an open invitation to cut loose. Teens loved it. Parents saw it as a warning sign. The repeated references to shakin' and bull by the horns struck many stations as obvious innuendo. Several programmers refused to play it, calling the song too wild for 1957 norms. Church groups argued it encouraged improper behavior, and critics said Lewis's style bordered on chaos.
You can shake one time for me.
But the backlash only made it bigger. After his explosive TV appearance, the track skyrocketed, becoming one of rock's first unstoppable anthems and cementing Lewis as the genre's wild card. 6. Such a Night. The Drifters, Johnny Ray, 1954.
Such a night, the night was alive with stars above.
Such a Night didn't sound dangerous, but the story inside it definitely worried 1950 censors. The lyrics describe one unforgettable night, full of excitement, emotion, and a very physical kind of chemistry. Clyde McPhatter's soaring vocals with the Drifters made the moment feel almost cinematic.
Ooh, that night. Ooh, what a night it was, it really was such a night.
Which only made nervous broadcasters pay closer attention. They didn't like what they heard. In Detroit, one major station banned every version of the song, the Drifters' original, Bunny Paul's cover, and Johnny Ray's pop-friendly remake, calling it too racy for respectable radio. Across the Atlantic, the BBC also stepped in, pulling Ray's version after listeners complained that the track was too suggestive for family programming.
Such a kiss. Ooh, ooh, such a night. Now,
none of this stopped the momentum. The Drifters still scored a major R&B hit, and audiences embraced the song precisely because it sounded grown up and honest. In a decade that tried to hide anything messy or passionate, Such a Night felt like a quiet rebellion, a moment of realism that censors couldn't control.
and my heart was gone, and her love was gone.
If you're enjoying this countdown, hit like and subscribe. It supports the channel and helps more people discover these forgotten songs. 5. Honey Love. The Drifters, featuring Clyde McPhatter, 1954.
Middle of the night, I need your honey love. I want
Honey Love was one of those songs that sounded warm, soft, and romantic, until nervous officials listened too closely. The Drifters were already known for blending gospel-style harmonies with R&B emotion, and this track took that mix straight into controversial territory. The lyrics talk openly about giving honey love, and to 1950s censors, that phrasing felt far too physical to be passed off as harmless sweetness.
the day is done, I'm gonna get it. Cause it's so much fun, I'm gonna get it.
The backlash hit hardest in Memphis. Local police actually seized shipments of the record before they even reached jukeboxes, calling the song obscene and warning it promoted indecent behavior among teenagers. Several southern stations followed their lead and refused to play it altogether. Parents claimed the track sounded too intimate, and watchdog groups argued that R&B was becoming a threat to public morals. Despite the resistance, listeners loved it.
When me gets cozy, just like the fingers in a glove.
Honey Love climbed straight to #1 on the R&B charts and stayed there, proving that the louder the outrage, the faster a good song spreads. It became a symbol of how censors kept losing the battle against modern music. But censors were even less prepared for the innuendo that came next. 4. Big 10-inch Record. Bull Moose Jackson, 1952.
When I take out my big 10-inch record of the band that plays the blues.
Big 10-inch Record shows how far 1950s artists could push innuendo without saying anything explicit. Bull Moose Jackson builds the entire joke around a dramatic pause. I want to play my big 10-inch before finally adding the word record.
Really get her going when I take out my big 10-inch record.
The meaning was obvious, and that's exactly why programmers backed away. Many stations refused to air it, arguing the pause made the innuendo clearer than any lyric could. They worried teens would hear the setup, ignore the punchline, and fill in their own interpretation. In the 1950s, that was more than enough to get a song banned.
Last night I tried to tease her. I gave her a little pinch.
Still, the track survived underground as a jukebox favorite and later exploded in popularity when Aerosmith covered it. What once alarmed censors became a cult classic. 3. It Ain't the Meat, It's the Motion. The Swallows, 1951.
It ain't the meat, it's the motion. It's the movement that gives it the...
It Ain't the Meat, It's the Motion is a masterclass in 1950s innuendo, not explicit, but absolutely impossible for censors to ignore. Every line plays with the idea that size doesn't matter, and even though the group never uses a single forbidden word, the message is unmistakable.
It's the motion, it's the movement that gives it the sound.
Radio programmers took one listen and immediately flagged it as too suggestive, arguing that the entire song functioned as coded advice about intimacy. Most mainstream stations refused to play it, and the Swallows later admitted the track was blackballed despite strong audience buzz. Yet the band only added to its reputation. The song became a cult favorite, living on in jukeboxes, record shops, and late-night gatherings.
Much of a brush is mighty sweet. When she starts rocking, she don't wanna...
In a decade obsessed with clean lyrics, this one proved how far clever wordplay could travel. Yet, the next record proved controversy could get even more direct. 2. 60-Minute Man. Billy Ward and the Dominoes, 1951.
60-minute man.
Look here.
60-Minute Man didn't hide behind metaphors, it bragged. Bass singer Bill Brown lays out, minute by minute, how he supposedly satisfies women for a full hour, turning the song into one of the most openly sexual records of the decade for 1951 radio. This was a full-blown shock.
If your man ain't treating you right, come up here.
Stations called it obscene, church leaders condemned it, and many programmers refused to air it at all. But the bands only made teens more curious. The track exploded on the R&B charts, even crossing over into the mainstream, a huge moment in the early days of rock and roll.
Rock 'em, roll 'em all night long. 60-minute.
Its success proved that audiences were ready for bolder music, even if gatekeepers weren't. 60-Minute Man didn't just stir controversy. It forced pop culture to move forward. 1. Work With Me, Annie. Hank Ballard and the Midnighters, 1954. Work With Me, Annie is the song that pushed 1950s censors past their breaking point. Hank Ballard wasn't subtle. The track is filled with flirtation, negotiation, and a clear invitation for Annie to work with him in a way adults instantly understood. Radio stations called it too sexual. Watchdog groups filed complaints, and the FCC reportedly pressured networks to keep it off the air. Yet none of that slowed it down. The single sold over 1 million copies, teens bought it in droves, and its success sparked 2 follow-ups. Annie Had a Baby and Annie's Aunt Fanny, each causing even more outrage. The whole trilogy became a symbol of the culture clash between teen desire and adult control. This wasn't just a band song, it was a turning point. The 1950s tried to look spotless, but these band tracks proved the decade was way louder, braver, and messier than people remember. If you enjoyed this countdown, hit like, subscribe, and stick around. The next video waiting for you breaks down 12 forgotten one-hit wonders from 1955 that deserve a fresh listen. You don't want to miss it.